The question, my good friend, is should you buy a hardware compressor or not? What are the benefits? When is the right time to buy? This all depends on your level of experience and on the kind of music you make. I find that unless you do music that is organic in nature, rock, R&B, blues, pop songs with actual guitars and pop songs with actual electric bass guitars, things like that, then you probably won't need a hardware compressor. Here's what I've done. I've got some examples. I have some drums set up for a song that I just finished, and I'll show you the end product when we get to the end of the video. Go ahead and subscribe. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to listen to the source sound. So just the drums, no hardware compressor, no plugins, and no trigger. And just as a side note, I have the Overstayer compressor. It's a stereo voltage control compressor, has some peak limiting capabilities. It has a little bit of built-in harmonics, some EQing. And so the breadth of the conversation here is, do I need to buy a hardware compressor? What kind of a difference is it going to make in my mix? So the very first thing that you need to consider is the style of genre that you make. After that, are you a beginner, intermediate, or advanced? Because if you're a beginner, you 100% do not need a hardware compressor. Once you go a little bit further along, I can understand the need to create bigger songs, better sounds, and to sound a bit more authentic in nature, so you can probably pass at that point. But if you're a beginner, do not buy a hardware compressor. All right, so let's go ahead and demo these drums. By the way, these are not actual real drums that are multi-mic'd. These are just drums from inside the DAW, okay? So first example, drums without the stereo voltage control compressor from Overstayer. Shout out to Overstayer. No plugins and no triggers. Here's what we get. So depending on the kind of experience you have, this either sounds incredible or it sounds pretty good. For those of you that have actually recorded drums, you have experience with that kind of thing, you know that there is a lot missing here. There's so much skin that's not in the game at the moment. And that's part of the problem. Is the drums these days sound pretty good, but I wouldn't say they sound that good out of the box. You have to do a lot in order to really get them to sing. In this next example, you can see I have the drums. I now have added plugins within the DAW, and I have drum triggering via addictive trigger. So now we go from this sound to this sound. Now, in order to really compare these apples and oranges, I'm going to go back and forth. So you'll notice that Exposed by Mastering the Mix is highlighting the track that I'm playing, okay? So the first thing that jumps out at me, the thing that pops out, is the snare. It's unbelievable the texture that you can get with drum triggering software. You apply some bus compression on the track stack, and all of a sudden it sounds like you have a kit that may or may not be real, but it's pretty darn close. So this is before, again, no plugs, no drum triggering, nothing, just the custom DAW stuff. A little bit of finessing, adding some plugins and some triggers, we get this. Now, sure, it's a little bit quieter, there's no question, but that's also because I am utilizing bus compression, not with the hardware compressor. I'm just using the SSL stuff. So then now we have an overall reduction in volume, in the dynamic range per se, but of course you make up for that, and it sounds a lot louder. So that gets you a little bit closer. This next example, my good friends, is going to have the compressor by overstayer. I'm going to put that into the signal. Of course, it's going to get louder. It's going to sound fuller. It's going to do everything that it needs to do. And so if you are somewhat seasoned, you really know your way around your studio, you're looking for that next level in production, then I want you to consider a compressor. I don't care which one. You can get a distressor. You can get any hardware compressor that you fancy. The important thing is that you understand how to utilize it, how to work it. So let's go ahead and check out overstayer compressor on drums, along with everything else. Here we go. Okay, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you hearing the difference between the DAW stock drum set, no plugins, no triggers? And now we've added plugins, we've added some drum triggering. Sounds like this. And finally, here we go, SVC. So let me just play you from the very beginning to the very end. So check this out. See, and that right there is the difference. You don't really hear it as you start building the idea, start adding some more treatment, you start adding some more compression, saturation, but you start to hear it against the better idea, the better concept, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I need this. I mean, look at the life coming out of the snare. It's like I'm hearing the stick play against the side of the snare, like really buckling down and creating that noise that's associated with friction. Check it out. This is before. That sounds like a computer. All right, so one more time. This is before everything. Again, sounds like a computer. It's a little bit of plugin, some triggering software. So that will get you a little bit closer, but if you want that fat sound to really take it over the top, then certainly check out a hardware compressor. Listen to this. All right, one final walkthrough. One. All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much for the opportunity to work with you. I'm starting to notice the channel is doing so well. The trends are looking up, so go ahead and support what we're up to. I'm really trying to create something unique and something special here. I wish I had resources like this when I had first started. You know, I always wondered, should I get a compressor? Should I not? I actually bought this one by mistake from the owner themselves. And check out their plugin released by Softtube called Mas that just came out like a couple of weeks ago. So big ups to Overstayer. They're starting to really come up, and it's nice to see people like this growing that are so deserving. This is Eddie Gray signing off. We're going to do a whole lot more videos, so stay tuned. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and sign up for my courses. Link in the description. Much love, much respect. I'm out.